Okay, hello everybody. Am I audible? I've tried to resolve the audio issues. I hope I'm audible. If I'm not, please drop a message.
You're clear, ma'am.
Audible, okay, great. So I can see a few familiar names. Glad you're back. If you were there in the last session, you would remember that we were talking about how to speak at very short notice, how to speak to an audience with little to no preparation. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Before that, can anybody give me a summary of the last 5 minutes of the last session? What did we discuss? What are the 4 different kinds of public speaking that we discussed? Anyone? A few names that were there from the last session. So feel free to Ravikant, do you remember? Towards the end of the last session, we talked about 4 different kinds of public speaking.
Hello, good evening, ma'am.
Yeah.
I remember some of them. One was public speaking, means it was extempore. One was which we will do today, impromptu. And one was debate, I think.
Debate, okay.
And memorized.
Yes, manuscript. Debate is slightly different. Debate is where where there's another party.
Okay.
Where you're not just talking to an audience. It's a kind of a conversation. So if you say something, then the other party also refutes your argument. So that's a debate.
Yes.
Right? So there's more than one person involved in the speaking when it's a debate. So that's that. Okay, let me just refresh your memories. We have manuscript speaking, which is when you have a script and you take it to the stage and you read it out with maybe some expression or some intonation or whatever way you choose to read. The script is there with you and you can look at it whenever you want to. That's when you read out a manuscript. Can you give me an example of when this happens, maybe in some kind of social events other than, reading at conferences? Today's topic is impromptu speaking, Harsh. Today's topic is impromptu speaking. Yeah. Anybody else? Can you think of any other events where a manuscript is read out?
In speeches which contain a lot of facts.
Okay, that's one. Mostly academic speeches, right, where people are presenting to other academics in the same field. So that's when they read out facts and they research and all that. That's one thing. But think of it from a more marketing. What do people do when they're marketing a book? Have you heard of book reading sessions? Where
No.
the author comes and reads out an excerpt from their book.
Yeah.
Yes,
as part of promotions.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So that's also another kind of speaking where it's a performance, but the author has the script with her and the author reads it out, right? So that's another example. So memorized again, as we already discussed, reciting something, memorizing it verbatim and reciting it to the dot, maybe like a recital of a verse, of a religious verse, or reciting a poem, or it can be performance poetry where there is no script, but somebody is performing that poetry. So again, it's memorized. Whether the performer or the person who's giving the speech is adding more to the content through their, body language or through their expressions, that's another thing. But it is memorized. At the core of it is the fact that there is a script and that's memorized. So that's the second part. The third one is extempore. So generally, extempore. So extempore and impromptu, right? These two, they are. If you were to look at the meanings of the words themselves, extempore and impromptu, there is not much difference. Extempore comes from the Latin word, and it means tempo means time, right? Temporal is time, right? So it literally means at the moment. So again, it's not like it's planned or anything. Similarly, impromptu also means without preparation, without prompting, without any prior notice. So they both mean the same, but because we need a distinction between speeches that are more that we give maybe a day's time to plan, or maybe 30 minutes to plan, where we have an outline and you go onto the stage and you use that outline to speak. So that's what, in common communication parlance, we call it extempore, where you have a plan, where you have an outline in your head, you have rehearsed it to some extent, and although you don't have a script, you can go onto the stage and talk for 10 minutes. You have enough content for it because you have an outline, right? So that's an extempore, is what we call in common, communication parlance. Impromptu, on the other hand, to see the distinction, impromptu is where you have little to no time to prepare. So, as I've said here, in weddings or parties or college fest, suddenly somebody's a lot of people are having fun. Suddenly, somebody wants you to come onto the stage and speak, or speak for 2 minutes about what you felt at the festival, right? So that again would be impromptu. That is different from extempore because you don't get the time to prepare as much. Again, even if you're holding a question and answer session, suppose you have given a manuscript presentation right there, but then somebody asks you a question and you have to answer it for 2-3 minutes. Again, that could be considered impromptu, even though it is in a conference, even though just prior to that you have presented for 10 minutes using a script. And also in everyday situations, in class, suppose I ask, okay, Nishant, why don't you tell me something about what happened in this class? Again, you know something about it, but you don't really get time to consolidate your thoughts and outline it as if you would, the same way you would if it were a speech that you could prepare for, right? So impromptu that way is where you have to speak with little no notice. Okay. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, Presley has given an example of a manuscript reading, if I'm not wrong, correct? Annual report of a company by the CEO. Okay, great. Okay, so what we do now, we go on to see how we can prepare ourselves. Impromptu is essentially unprepared, but there are strategies to ensure that you can be pre-prepared. So when the opportunity presents itself, you will be in a better place to. Right? So yeah. The first point that you need to remember, somebody is unmuted. Mute yourself, that would be great. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah. So as I was saying, the first point that you need to keep in mind is that you need to anticipate situations in which you may be asked to speak. Public speaking, being given the opportunity to speak in public in itself, you should be considering it as an opportunity to show your talents, show your knowledge, and just tell people what you already know. It's a platform, right? And that's a platform that doesn't come quite often, that doesn't come very easily. But if you want to make the best use of such platforms, you need to be able to anticipate certain situations in which you may be asked to speak. As I've said here, a lot of people keep talking about how luck is definitely involved in things going well, but you also need to be prepared when the opportunity presents itself. Then only whatever you do can be successful, right? So anticipate situations even before, even if there's nothing happening, even if there is no reason for you to think about impromptu speaking. Occasionally, you can maybe give some thought to, oh, there's a wedding coming up next week. A lot of people will be having fun in the evening. What if I'm asked to go onto the stage and introduce somebody, right? So you can just be mentally prepared that way if you anticipate certain situations. Can you give me other situations? See, all of you come from very, very different backgrounds, so I'd love to know you think you might be asked to speak impromptu.
Ma'am, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was this situation I was in where I had to judge a event, poetry reciting event. So after judging the performances,
Did I lose you?
hello,
Yeah. Who is it? Could you just mute?
Prandipan.
Okay, yeah, Prandipan. Yes, please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, another example that came into my mind. There was this situation where I had to judge for a college fest for performance poetry and poetry reciting. So after judging the performances, they asked me to go on the stage and speak impromptu about the event or how I felt about it or something I wrote. I had to recite it. So that is also kind of impromptu for me.
Yes, exactly. That is a very good example, Prandipan, because while you may have been asked to judge, you may have been given the heads up about being needed to judge. Maybe they wouldn't have told you that you would need to speak at the end of it, right?
Yes, that was not expected actually. That was unexpected.
Yes, that was not expected. So in that case, so again, in general, when judges finish, judging in any reality show, or any show, or any competition, they do speak 2 or 3 words or 2 or 3 sentences at the end of it. So again, here's where the importance of anticipation lies. So the moment you're asked to judge, okay, yeah, what will happen? Just think of the progression of the event. I'll go judge. I'll maybe have to talk to other judges and be in consonance with their judging criteria. And then when the event ends, maybe I'll be asked to speak. So that kind of a mindset is what you need to cultivate if you want to really succeed at being really good impromptu speaker, right? So that is the point I wanted to drive home. Next, so once they give the invitation, right? Once somebody asks you to come, you know what? We are short of a speaker. Do you think you could come and fill in? Be calm and confident. Don't. I mean, a lot of people have this tendency to say, "Oh no, me, no way," right? But if you think you can pull it off, don't say things like, "Oh no way, I can't do that at all." Don't say things like that. Accept the invitation with grace and assurance. Tell them I may need some time to compose myself, but because this is short notice, but yes, I can do it, right? So that is what I wanted to, what this point wants to emphasize. So be calm and confident and accept whatever invitation you get to speak on the spot with grace and assurance. Don't panic and don't let the others also get panicked, right? So That's one point. Third point is, see, this is really, really important in my opinion, because if you're asked to speak, the moment you realize that, the moment you accept the invitation, you need to know what it is. What is that one objective that you want to fulfill through this 1 minute or 2 minutes? And what is it that you want to convey? What is it? What is the message that you think would be most effective? So knowing that objective, knowing that purpose will help you organize your thoughts, even in your head, even if you don't have a pen and paper, even if you don't have the time to outline or anything. In your head, if you know the purpose, the entire process of speaking will get much, much easier. And also, to know your purpose, you need to have opinions, right? If you want to give some content, you need to have opinions on something. To form opinions on anything and be confident about backing up those opinions, this comes partly from reading, right? So if you have the knowledge on a certain topic, if you are well read, then you'll be able to form opinions. And once you form your opinions, it will be easier for you to know your purpose, especially when you're asked to speak impromptu. So I think I would say the root of being able to do well in impromptu speaking is to know more, is to be more well read, is to read very diversely on a different range of topics, so that at any point in time, if you are asked to speak, you will have something to say, right? So this is a very, very important point, being well read. Okay. Next, see, even if you don't know, even if you don't know everything about a particular topic, when there is a lack of time, you need to use what you know and what you have. Sometimes perhaps you are in a maybe you went to this museum as part of a field trip. This museum is a technological museum, and then your teacher at the end of the trip, your teacher or your professor asks you to give sort of a 2-3 minute speech about what this museum experience felt like for you, what you learned, what you took away from this entire experience. Maybe you don't really have a tech background. Maybe you didn't really understand all the complex processes or all the complex machinery that you were taken through, that you were educated about. But you can talk about how the museum experience itself. I mean, you would have made some friends. You would have got to know new people. You would have got to know new people from different backgrounds, different academic backgrounds, different personal backgrounds. So that is something you can bring into the speech if you do not have a lot of knowledge about the topic itself, right? So when there's nothing else, when your research on the topic itself is a little thin, then you can bring in personal stories, and they work best most of the time. You talk about hobbies, families, work, news. See, when it's impromptu, it's impossible that it can be formal, right? In very rare cases, can you make a very formal impromptu speech. So when it is impromptu, keep it conversational, bring in personal stories, anecdotes, and anything that strikes your mind at that time. And make sure to weave it into this purpose that you want to fulfill. Okay. Any questions at this point? Yes, we will have an activity today as well. In 10 minutes, I'll be wrapping up this, and then we will have an activity where you'll be speaking. Okay, great. Then, within the limited time you have, organize your thoughts and make notes if possible. So, generally, back in school, if I'm not wrong, how many of you had, elocution contests?
Which contest?
Public speaking contests, elocution contests.
Yes, like declamations and debates.
Yeah, you would have had debates, right? So
Yes.
Debates is where you talk for and against, right? A
Yes, ma'am.
controversial. Yeah. So how much time did you get to prepare? Were you given the topics in advance, or were you asked?
Yes, it was in advance and a week or so.
Ma'am, we were given the topics a week before.
A week before. Okay, so that's again more on the somewhere the gray area between the memorized and the extempore speech, right? Right?
Yes,
If I'm
ma'am.
not wrong. Right.
We
So the
have
gray.
we used to had something like that where we get the topic right before we need to speak, just like 1 minute before.
Yes. Those also, like generally in schools they have that. So then you get only like 2 minutes. You're given a topic, given only 2 minutes to speak, and then you have to speak on spot. So in that, within the limited time you have, number one priority is to organize your thoughts within 2 minutes, because everything depends on structure. You may have a lot of points to say. A lot of people struggle with this. They have a lot of content to convey, but they may start with the wrong point at the beginning and not build it up with the basic point at the beginning and the complex points and the elaborations in the middle and coming back to the main basic point at the end. That would be a good structure, right? But a lot of people get struggle with this structuring of their thoughts, struggle with organizing their thoughts in a manner that is easily consumable by the audience. So number one priority would be to organize your thoughts. See, even in those 2 minutes, even if you don't have a pen or paper, if you have like, if you're at a wedding or something, there must be some tissue paper or something. You just take a pen and write down 3 points on a tissue paper. So think of an introduction and then think of 2 or 3 points, elaborating on that main point that you make in introduction. And then conclusion, bring it back to the original introduction, right? Bring it back to the main point that you want to talk about. So in maybe maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs, your entire speech will be done, and it won't last more than 2 or 3 minutes. And impromptu speeches, they are not meant to last more than that. You will be expected to speak only for a very short time, right? So organizing your thoughts, very, very important. If you have time only for one thing, you have to organize your thoughts. And of course, don't ramble, be brief. Again, the shorter the better, because you don't have a lot of prep that has been done. So the shorter the better, be brief, 1 point, 2 points, that's it, wrap up, done. And that way you will make the audience take away a lot more. Sometimes, if by mistake, it is bound to happen, it's an impromptu speech, there's no preparation. If maybe you fumble, don't apologize too much. Don't spend too much time apologizing for it and explaining. A mistake has been done. Okay, it's been done. Move on to the next one. Right? So that's another important point. Say if you have some more time, maybe you're asked to speak and then somebody is already speaking, you and their speech is expected to go on for another 10 minutes or another 15 minutes. If you have a little more time, then you have more time to do a little bit of research, right? So maybe you can Google a few things about the particular topic that you're going to speak about, or you can dig up your memories and think about a particular incident that may tie in very well with the topic that you're asked to speak about. So if you have a little more time, use that time to research and read up. Of course, you can still keep your topic personal, but if you have a little bit more time, doing a bit of research won't hurt. If you have a bit more time, obviously you can rehearse. You can make an outline and then you can rehearse. You can be like, tell your friend or the closest person who's sitting next to you. You can just tell them, okay, I'm going to start off by talking about this thing, and then I'm going to elaborate on this point with 2 or 3 backing statements, and then I'm going to conclude by stating my original opinion on my original point that I wanted to make, right? So you can rehearse with another person. Of course, if it's not just the verbal and the vocal elements to your speech, but the visual elements are also very important in making a proper speech. Give an overall semblance of effectiveness, right? So when you're speaking impromptu, again, you probably didn't prepare for it. You probably didn't dress for it, right? So make any quick fixes to your dressing or appearance. calm your nerves, drink some water. Again, very useful advice regardless of what domain we are speaking about. Okay, so now that that's done, I have a few strategies in general that people use to outline. I keep talking about organizing your thoughts, structuring your presentations, uh, making the introduction, then the body, and the conclusion. But there are a few different ways in which people normally go about outlining. And so here I'll be talking about those particular strategies, right? The first thing is the prep method. This is when you have a little more time, right? When you have a little more time, you can use the prep method. So for instance, the prep method is the acronym is position, reason, example, position. So you state a claim, then you give evidence for that claim, then you give an example, a real life example for that evidence that you've given, and then you restate. This is ideal for maybe like debatable topics where there's a controversy. So suppose the topic is you're asked to speak on is gene editing for human enhancement ethical or not? Or you're asked to speak about something a little, should students under the age of 14 be given mobile phones? So if the topic is controversial like that, you pick a stance. You pick a stance. You can say something like, no, I don't think that students under 14 should be given mobile phones. That is your position. So you state that position, then you give a reason. I say so because research has shown that the effects of using a smartphone while one is still a minor are much higher than when one is an adult and has the ability to make their own decisions. And an example would be, so I personally know of this person who had this parent who had a very bad experience of their child being addicted to a mobile phone because they had given the child a mobile phone far too early on in their lives. So going back to the original position, I would like to conclude by reinforcing my main point, which is that I think that children under the age of 14 should not be given their own mobile phones. Right? So that would be a good structure to your impromptu speaking or your little presentation that you're going to make. The another method is the past, present, future method. So now this is more suitable when you're trying to make a case for something through a narrative, through a story. So you're asked to speak about a groom, like you're the groom's friend and you've gone to that wedding. So you're asked to speak about that groom. So at that time, it's better to indulge in storytelling a little bit. So you can talk about the past, about how you were best friends. You've been best friends for a very long time. The first time you met this person, the groom, maybe he was only 7 years old and you were playing around in their balcony. And then look how far we have come. And now this person is getting married and I can't believe it. And then you can end with a hopeful note for the future saying, and I really wish all the best for the couple, the bride and the groom. And I hope things stay as beautiful as they are in this moment. Right? So that's the past, present, future method where you want to tell stories, or maybe you're talking about a person, maybe you're talking about how a particular technology developed over time. So that's when the past, present, future method, that structure is more. Any questions at this point?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Then the problem, cause, solution method. So this is more ideal when there is a problem to be addressed or solved. So like here I've given an example. Gene editing is a technology with great health benefits, but it is being misused. How do we ensure that it is not misused? Right? There is a problem. Gene editing is a great technology, but it has some dark sides. What are the causes for these dark sides? And what are the solutions that we can come up with? Right? So that is the structure. Suppose the nature of the topic is like this. Can you think of another topic that would be maybe a problem to be solved? Quick.
Climate change?
Okay, yeah. So that's the problem, you mean? Yeah, so you can talk about how corporations using the seas to transport their goods is contributing to pollution in the sea, and what can we do about it? So there's a problem. Corporations are sending out huge ships full of oil, and then oil spills happen, and then the sea is getting polluted. What can we do about it? So there's a problem, and there's a cause for that problem. What is the cause here?
The company is sending their ships full of oil.
That's the problem. The problem lies with the company. What is the solution maybe we can come up with policies that put a cap on how much shipping one company can do, something like that, right? So that is a trajectory that the speech or that the topic can take. The final method, of course, there are more methods there. You can choose to structure your presentation or your speech in any way you want to, as long as there is a structure to it. But here's another method that people often suggest, which is the IDA method. So here's where this is mostly used when you have to persuade somebody, when you have an objective, when you have to sell something to somebody, when you want somebody to do something for you, right? So it is called attention, interest, desire, action for that reason, because you first gain the attention of the audience, then you slowly build interest in that particular product that you're trying to sell, in that particular activity that you're trying to get them involved in. And then you build it up in such a way that they desire to buy this product, or they desire to get involved in this activity. And then the way you end it should induce them to action. It should get them to actually act upon the initial objective that you wanted to fulfill, right? So for instance, here I've given an example. Suppose you're at a party and you have to gain the attention of the people, and because you want them to get on stage and dance. Again, impromptu speaking, that is, nobody tells you. Suddenly you feel like you want to get everybody onto the stage and you want to have like a extemporaneous dance. People are reluctant. People, if they're not prepared, they don't want to come onto the stage. But you have to induce them to action. In that case, you can start by using this. Okay. So clear? Are the 4 methods clear?
Yes, ma'am. Perfect.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So now we get into the activity. We'll be very quick with this because I think we have a session at 7, the read with us session, which I would really love if you all join. As I said, reading is probably the first step towards forming opinions, gaining knowledge, which will ultimately help you speak better, right? Okay. So here are some situations. I would like some volunteers to volunteer to speak impromptu, because that's what we've been talking about. So volunteer to speak impromptu, then pick a number and I'll reveal that topic. And then the others also can think about how they would. Harshvi has volunteered. Okay, great. Harshvi, can you pick a number?
3.
Is that Harshvi?
Yes.
Okay, and who else is raising their hands? Sanitya, Nishant. Okay. Great. Okay. So Harshvi, you've chosen, if I'm not wrong, you've chosen 3, right? Okay, just give me 1 minute. Need to be able to edit this. Great. I'm loving the response. Thank you so much for volunteering. Here you go. To make this. Okay. Clear, Harshvi?
Just a minute.
I'll give you 2 minutes to prepare. It's 6:36 now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
the speech can be just about 1 minute. That's all. Okay. 6:36 now. By 6:38, you can go. All right. Great. Then we had another person, but I'll not reveal the topics yet because I don't want to give you a lot of time. The others, you also, it's not like you don't, you can sit back and relax, think about what you would do if you were also given the same topic and if you also had to speak.
Done, ma'am. Shall I start?
Yeah, sure, Harshvi. Great. Great. Go ahead before time.
Thank you so much. This is a very great honor for achieving such a good award. I would like to thank my parents, my family, my colleagues, my support team to always be there with me. And a special thanks to all those producers with whom I have ever worked. And this is a dream come true moment for me, getting an award for the supporting category. Maybe and that's it, I guess.
Yes. Okay, Harshvi. Good job. Thank you so much. You could have extended it a little bit, maybe because you're giving a winning speech. Maybe you can talk about the film experience that you had. So you can talk about the past experience in the filming process itself that helped you grow as an actress and brought you here to an award-winning position today. And you can end on a note where you talk about how you would like to continue to have the support of your fans, your parents, and how you would love to continue to work. Again,
Right.
progression that way. It's just a suggestion. Again, you choose to speak in any way you want, but just a suggestion to sort of build that arc. Okay, next. I think who went next?
Nishant.
Yes, Nishant. Pick a number.
First.
First one. Okay. Wait, let me just. Yep.
Can I take a minute or I have to speak now?
No. Take 2 minutes. 6:42. I expect you to speak.
Okay. Ma'am, I'm starting.
Okay, start.
Thank you, my friend Kushagra. I'm really fortunate to get friends like you all, and meeting after 10 years is like a dream come true for me. I am so lucky to get friends like you all. We have been enjoying whole day. We have done so many activities like movie marathon and many things, and it was really exciting to be with you all. And I would like to mention some of my best friends also, like Sumit. He is a great cricketer, and I learned cricket best shots from him. I'm really lucky. Also, Harsh, he is a good dancer. I learned from him also much, and we also enjoyed at our time in school. Rahul also taught me, uh, uh, helped me in my studies. He was so much studious, and he helped me in many of my tests, preparing for my test. All of you have been so much helpful in my journey, and I am so thankful to you all. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Nishant. Thank you so much. Couple of points. I think you mentioned so much helpful at some point. Much is a word that is used with uncountable nouns, right?
Yes,
It's better to say you have been very helpful. You have been extremely helpful.
yes,
So you can just say so much. You would say there is so much milk.
okay,
There's too much water, but you wouldn't use it with an adjective. So much helpful, so much studious, right? You would use that person is very studious. That person is extremely studious, right? So that's one grammatical aspect I would like to point out. And again, I would give you the same suggestion that I gave Harshvi regarding building a narrative, building an arc using one of the outlining strategies, so that there is more of a smoothness to your speech rather than it being discrete remarks.
yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Next, I think we have Sanitya.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you want to pick a number?
Yes, 2. I'll go with 2.
Great. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Sanitya, before we start, I want you to read the topic. So think about which of the 4 methods maybe you might use would be most appropriate for this particular topic.
All right. Wait a second, ma'am. Just let me read.
Sure. Take your time.
Ma'am, I'll particularly go with problem-centric approach. I'll tell the problem, and after that, I'll reason out the things which are the causes, then the solution, and certainly we'll reach to some consensus after that.
Okay, great. Yeah, you can take 1.5 minutes. Is that all right?
Yes, perfectly fine.
Okay, great.
Well, ma'am, may I begin?
Yes,
All right, may I turn on my video?
absolutely.
All right. Just tell me, am I visible? Am I visible now?
Yes, you are.
All right. So I'm starting. All right, gentlemen, as the president of the general body of Vasudev Hostel, we have been reported an issue of monkeys contaminating the water in the dispensers by our neighbors. This is not a very critical issue, but certainly this is related to health, since monkeys can affect and spread rabies as well. Also, to maintain more decorum in the hostel and cleanliness, I would say, and we can work on, but first of all, we may list out the causes for it. So, since near our hostel there is a sanctuary, so monkeys can come from there. We can also observe that there are no boundaries or fencing particularly, so we can request the sanctuary owners or the sanctuary guards to do so. This is one thing. Apart from that, on our basic personal level also, we can work for the solution, and we can also work with order to have the protecting wooden cases with which we can protect the water dispensers. Adding on to this, we can also form a small committee, and we can delegate the work for looking about this issue, certainly. So this is it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Aditya. Thank you.
I tried my best anyways.
Yes, no, you listed out the causes, the problem, you stated the problem, you listed out the causes, then you suggested solutions, right? A few of the filler words could have been done away with, but again, it's impromptu speaking, so it's not possible for it to be, a absolutely perfect speech, right?
No
Okay.
problem. Thank you.
Then we have Vrinda. Vrinda,
Yes.
do you want to choose?
I would go with 5.
Yes. Okay. So you can start speaking by maybe 6:49-ish. As always, the others, you also keep thinking about how you will be strategizing in case you were given the same topic.
Can I start?
Yes, please go ahead.
Can you see me?
Yes, you're visible.
It is a pleasure to speak on the stage for my cousin's wedding. He is my favorite cousins out of them all, and it is very exciting and emotional to see him get married. It is actually a little surprising and exciting to see that my brother, with whom I used to play with in the young age, is now getting married, and we will be having a sister-in-law in our house. We will be going shopping together with my sister-in-law and spending a lot of time. We can probably, my brother can cook cuisines for you, and probably sometime I can also cook for you. You can relax and chill at our house. I would love to be the part. I would love you to be the part of our family, and wishing you all the best for your new chapter in the life. Thank you so much.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Vrinda. I see you've brought in the aspect of the narrative, the arc, which I really like. Thank you so much. Again, it can be a little longer, you can build it up a little more. Okay, but yes, great work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have Plessy. I don't think there's much choice left, so here's your topic. Plessy, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, great.
Can I start, ma'am?
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
I thank all of you on behalf of the Architecture Department College Festival Coordination Committee. I am stand here before you to invite all of you who have taken part in this festival with such success. As the coordinator, we are planning for the next college festival, which is going to happen next year. And I want those of you who have taken part this year to come to the college next month to share your experiences during the college festival and to give tips and guidance to the next year's team, so that the success that you have now set as a standard for which the department is very proud of and would like to follow in the next year, we would like your cooperation by coming for the conference. I hope, in spite of your rather busy schedule, especially we know that the next 2 weeks you're going to have your submissions. In spite of that, you will be kind enough to make the time and help the future of the upcoming department, your department mates, in their next festival. Thank you all for listening to me. I don't want to keep you here too much because you have your classes very soon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. That was great. Thank you so much. So yes, thank you so much for your responses and your active participation. I hope you were able to take away a few things from this session on impromptu speaking, and you were able to enjoy the other 2 sessions and the activities as well. That is mostly a wrap for today. I have given some topics for practice. So in case you want to do this at home or practice with your friends, you can use these topics. These are mostly debatable topics. Again, generally, you can give your responses in under 1 minute, 60 seconds, or just under 60 seconds. So that would be great if you can just use these topics. You can take a screenshot if you want. And you can practice whenever you have the free time. Don't prepare too much. Take maybe just a minute to prepare, and immediately you can record a voice note. so that you get real impromptu speaking experience, right? Okay, so that was it. That is the workshop for today. I know that you all have a session coming up right up at 7, so I won't keep you for long. So it's a wrap up, and thank you so much. I hope you were able to enjoy these 3 sessions.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, yes, sir.
First of all, thanks for the session. And which session is coming after this?
There's a read with us session, I think.
All right. All right.
So
Same link, right?
I think it's the same link. I'm
Mhm.
not
Okay.
sure, but yeah, I think we have it on every weekend where you all come together and read. So it's like a virtual reading club
All
kind of
right.
thing.
All right. Great.
I'd encourage all of you, if you haven't done this, if you haven't participated before, please participate. Please join in.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
and from the last 2 weeks, I am not able to join the session. It was showing that I am not authorized.
This session, Uday, are you from English 1?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that must be a technical issue. I hope.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Shruti, we didn't have 2 sessions. The previous session was cancelled, and we had sent out an announcement regarding the same. You can join today's session. From now on, we'll have 2 read with us sessions every week, Saturday and Sunday, 7 to 8.
Great, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Please join the session. It is a good one for you.
Yeah. I would definitely encourage all of you to join these
Yeah.
sessions and continue your reading habit every weekend.
Ma'am, can you please tell where we will be finding the link?
Ma'am, can you help me with that? I am not sure.
Ma'am, is it, today we have a session about virtual reading?
Sorry, Pratibha.
Yeah.
Could you say that again?
Yes, I was asking that, do you have a virtual reading today, like a reading session? Like, is it today or from tomorrow?
Today
Yes,
we
right
have
now. It's scheduled to begin in 2 minutes.
7 to 8.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
And tomorrow.
And
Okay.
what's the link,
Okay,
ma'am?
thank you, everybody.
You can use the same link. You can continue.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
You can connect using the same link. Kartika will join us shortly.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shruti.
Yeah, I'll be leaving then. Okay.
Sure.